On March 3rd, 2026, we're going to have our second eclipse of the season. This time, a total lunar eclipse in the highly sensitive, practical Earth sign of Virgo. With 4 planets and the North Node of Destiny sitting across from the moon, you could get the sense, my friend, that something is ending or coming full circle in your life. Or you could feel a change coming on, even if you don't know what that change is going to be, especially if you are one of the ones who is going to feel this lunar eclipse most intensely, which I will be sharing with you in part 1 of this video, along with the planetary conversations that are going on, which will give us the clues to the eclipse story that is playing out. And I'll also be sharing tips with you on how you can finesse these eclipse energies with the most ease and grace. I highly encourage you to watch part 1 of this video before you skip to your 12 sign reading so you don't miss the essentials of what you need to know to make the most of this lunar eclipse in Virgo. And in part 2, as always, I will be doing readings for each of the 12 signs. Listen to your rising sign, your sun and moon signs as well. And I'll also be sharing an oracle card message with you for each of the signs. So before we dive deeper on the lunar eclipse, and I do have a lot of interesting things to share with you, I want to say hello and welcome if you have just found the channel. I am very excited that you're here. This is a like-minded community. If you're highly sensitive on a spiritual path or an ascension journey, you are in the right place. Take a moment right now to tap the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And if we are just meeting for the first time, I'm Betsy Gutting. I'm a psychic astrologer, intuitive life coach, and the author of the book, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling. I love inspiring and empowering you through Western tropical astrology. It is also my passion and dedication to meet you on Zoom for live one-on-one astrology consultations. So if you are intrigued or you want to know how this eclipse and all the other transits that are going on right now are activating your natal astrology chart, my friend, stay tuned till the end of the video. I will tell you more about my offerings and I have a free gift for you. I also write about the astrology between videos in my weekly inspirational astrology updates. And if you'd like to receive those, you can go to my website, subscribe for free, and you will get your free gift instant download immediately. Now, lunar eclipses are full moons that have palpably amplified energy. For our human selves, we can feel anxious, we can feel brain fog, we can be extra tired, especially an eclipse with a lot of energies in Pisces, like this one. You could sense that there is something coming on the horizon, but you don't know what it is. And of course, on a human level, that's going to make us feel that sense of uncertainty that can be really unsettling. Because no matter how much the soul, your higher self, your spirit wants a positive change, is excited for a new beginning, a new adventure, no matter how much our souls are fully in and catapulting us toward a new chapter, many of us, the mind, the ego, whatever term you use, does not want change. And eclipses inherently bring wild card, unexpected events that we didn't see coming. So of course, during an eclipse, we want to be especially mindful of grounding our energy, making sure we're getting enough sleep, eating well, and getting enough exercise. All full moons bring endings, graduation moments, manifestations, something bearing fruit, or something completing. But eclipses add an extra layer of intensity. And this is because their purpose is to pick you up and put you down in the place that you are meant to be. Either literally, such as a new home, a new job, a passion of yours or vocation being expressed, or metaphorically, where we get a revelation, where we wake up to something that we didn't see before. Eclipses often do awaken us. And in that process, the way we saw something or the direction that we're going to take or a decision that we're making, we can change our course because of it. And this is all because eclipses align us to who we are now energetically, the new vibration, the consciousness that we are shifting into, or a new timeline. And lunar eclipses especially are known for revelations, seeing with new eyes. And this is why we say that eclipses often mark life turning points, significant decisions, situations, events, meeting a new person, getting an offer, or an opportunity that requires you to make a move, or allows you to say yes to something that your heart has wanted for a long time. And any of these things can really change our course, right? At the very least, an eclipse is often preparing us to make a change that is coming in the future. Lunar eclipses have a way of bringing something to a head, and this is why we say something can be eclipsed out of your life during a lunar eclipse. And if this is the case, and this is something that's so important for us to remember, because on a human level, we often don't want an ending. We don't want our lives to be disrupted, even if we're not happy where we are, even if we know deep down we need a change. If we don't know what's going to take its place, we're not usually signing up for that change to happen right away. So something is only eclipsed out of our life if it has expired for us, if it's no longer feeding us, if it's no longer growing us, because we're here to grow, evolve, and become more of who we truly are on a soul level while having this human experience, right? So this course correction, if you will, is only going to happen if it is time. And how do you know it's time? Well, eclipses only happen when the moon itself is aligned with the nodes of the moon. And the nodes of the moon, aka the lunar nodes, they represent the north node, your destiny, the south node, your fate or karma. And so they represent the timing of our fate and our destiny. And this is why they can be so catalytic. Also, during a full moon lunar eclipse, the sun and the moon, like any full moon, are opposite each other on the zodiac wheel, and oppositions create inherent tension, which means we feel them more in our relationships. And this is why we feel full moons, and especially full moon lunar eclipses, more emotionally. For this eclipse, the moon is in earthy Virgo, which brings our focus to our health, our well-being on all levels, our routines, the nitty-gritty details of life, all the things that have to be taken care of. That's Virgo energy. And opposite the moon in Virgo, we have the sun in Pisces, which represents the ethereal realms, your mystical self, everything that is not of this earthly world, your creativity, your ability to channel inner guidance, activate your imagination, and co-create your dreams and visions, bringing them down to earth. Now, one of the most important things to know about this eclipse in Virgo is that it is a south node eclipse, meaning that it is conjunct the south node, which is representative of fate, karma, karmic lessons, karmic contracts. With an eclipse conjunct the south node, that theme of something ending is that much more amplified. Or it could be that you have a situation or something unfolding during this eclipse that involves another person with whom you have a karmic contract. Maybe that contract is ending, the south node. Maybe you're meeting up with somebody for the first time that you plan to meet up with when you were on the other side, and you have this karmic connection, and something could happen between you and that person. Sometimes we get a job offer, and the supervisor that we will have if we take the job, we have a strong karmic connection to that person. There are important lessons, often very intense, that we will learn in that place of employment. But also, with a South Node lunar eclipse, we are meant to release the shadow side of the sign that the eclipse is in. So, the shadow side of Virgo is overthinking, analysis paralysis, perfectionism, being so concerned with the details that we miss. As we say, we can't see the forest from the trees. We can be overly critical, we can be especially hard on ourselves. And an even deeper layer of the South Node in Virgo, many of you may relate to this if you have strong Virgo energy in your natal chart. And this goes back for lifetimes. This goes back to past lives of being persecuted, being shunned, the witch burning days. So there can be a holdover from those past lifetimes in which you have a fear of coming out and being your true self, especially your true witchy self, your true spiritual self. I mean, witchy in the best of all ways. There can be a fear of being punished or hurt because of what happened when you were persecuted, often punished for something you didn't even do. So that, of course, is something we're meant to release so we can go forward and be in our full, unbridled expression without the fear of being our true, authentic selves. Now, the lunar nodes have been in Pisces and Virgo since January of 2025. And they are going to change signs. They're going to move into Aquarius and Leo in August of 2026. So another important fact to know is this is the last lunar eclipse that we're going to have on the Pisces-Virgo axis that is conjunct the South Node in Virgo. Why is this important? Because it's yet another guide to us that this is the time to release and let go of any of these shadow side themes that I mentioned. Also, if you look back to January of 2025, you might ask yourself, did anything begin for you around that time? Because between now and August, we are closing out this Pisces Virgo axis eclipse energy to the extent that it aligns with the nodes of the moon in Pisces and Virgo. We will have another eclipse in August in Pisces and another eclipse in Virgo in 2027, but those eclipses are going to be aligned with the Aquarius and Leo lunar nodes, and those are very different energies. So in this Virgo energy, you could be releasing anything karmic, including the ending of a relationship that has completed for you. You could have profound healing on any level, physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. You could be stepping back from a career or role. You could be healing from not feeling deserving or worthy of love, of money, of anything that your heart has really wanted. You could also be called to end a pattern or habit of self-sacrifice, being too hard on yourself, or rather than being in service, which is the light of Virgo, being in servitude instead. If you feel like you've given up too much, if you feel like you haven't gotten the energy back for the energy that you give, this is an eclipse that is really supporting you to shift that pattern, my friend. Because this is the last lunar eclipse that we're going to have connected to the nodes of the moon in Pisces and Virgo, this could very well feel like a chapter that is closing out for you. Now, the light of Virgo energy, its superpower is to create order out of chaos. Wherever the Virgo energy is happening in your natal chart, my friend, which is what I will share with you in your 12-sign readings, you may be seeking clarity, order, serenity, or deep inner peace. And one practice that you may want to do during this full moon that could be quite helpful is clutter clearing on any level, emotional, mental, spiritual, or physical. Because, as I'm sure you've experienced, when we clear clutter, even if it means going through our emails and deleting the ones we read and we don't need anymore, any kind of clutter clearing clears the mind and creates new space for what we truly do want to call into our lives. So this is why clutter clearing in your home, your office, your garage, your car, or even your refrigerator. I love it when I get the urge to clean out my refrigerator because I know that I am making an inner shift as well when I do that. And this can bring that lovely sense of calm that most of us truly desire. Now, if we bite off more than we can chew, we can get super overwhelmed, especially with so many planets in Pisces. So I also encourage you to just start small, clean out your car's glove compartment, maybe a canister of utensils in your kitchen. Start small, and usually it feels so good to toss things that you want to just keep going. Virgo energy can also help us heal from the inside out. So any kind of body-based healing modalities, such as Reiki, massage, acupuncture, EFT tapping, these can all be great ways to release stuck energy. Also nourishment through food, through supplements, walks in nature, putting your spine up against a tree, taking some deep breaths, clearing your chakras, you get the idea. And some of you may be intent on shifting a habit, changing a routine, knowing that your schedule is not right for you in some way. Maybe you want more flexibility. Maybe you want a whole new lifestyle. This eclipse, big picture, is saying, how are you ordering your life? What needs reordering? What needs refining? Virgo also rules the digestive system and how you're digesting life. And also because it's ruled by Mercury, it's connected to our nervous system. And now that we have Neptune and Saturn back in Aries, and Aries rules the brain, We're thought to have a second brain in our digestive area. I see a connection between these two because what is going on with the other planets? It's all part of the same soup. So let's talk about the other planetary conversations going on because they always give us clues as to how the story is playing out. First of all, we have a party of planets in Pisces sitting across from the moon itself. Mars, Venus, Mercury, the north node of destiny, and the sun are all in Pisces opposite the Virgo moon. In Pisces energy, we have a tendency to merge with others, both emotionally, and we can be psychic sponges. We can be pulled into the waters of the other realms or into our emotional, to feel all the feels, as my daughters say. And so we could definitely need more rest during this eclipse. Pisces energy also reminds us to be compassionate with ourselves, to be compassionate with others, to tap into that deeper divine connection that we all have, to remember that we have a direct line to the divine, to our spirit, to our higher self, our angels, to our guides, whoever you work with. For some of us, the idea of radical self-acceptance, accepting what we can't control, I think will be really helpful during this eclipse. And all full moons are times of emotional release. They are a time to dance it out, to sweat your prayers, to go for a brisk walk or to go for a run, to let it all go. And a good cry, a really good cry, there's nothing like a good cry to reset the nervous system. Now, the ruler of this eclipse is Mercury, and Mercury is retrograde in Pisces during the eclipse, which tells us that we are looking backward. We are reflecting, we are looking to the past, or we are seeing what needs refining or fixing or redoing during the eclipse. Something is likely under review, even if you're not consciously aware of it. And I always say Mercury retrogrades are not the best time to start something new, to sign contracts, to make big purchases, unless you absolutely have to. If your computer dies or your phone goes on the blink, obviously some things we have to replace. Keep the receipts. But Mercury being retrograde tells us that whatever is going on in your mind, whatever you're deciding, whatever you're mulling over, the jury is still out. So please don't put pressure on yourself, my friend, to know or to have the exact answer of how you're going to proceed during an eclipse that is ruled by Mercury when Mercury is retrograde. It doesn't mean you won't get clarity on this is right for me, this is wrong. I have to change this, but you may not know yet how you're going to go about that. Mercury is conjunct Venus, and Venus rules relationships, love, finances, beauty, pleasure, comforts, all the things that we choose, our preferences, our desires. So this could be a theme that we're talking about, that we're engaging in our conversations. And because Mercury's retrograde, that tends to bring people back into our life that we haven't spoken with for a while. It could be an old love. It could be a new love, but you've known each other in other lifetimes. Conjunct Venus. I mean, that could be some pretty juicy conversations, I have to say. The sun in Pisces will be conjunct the North Node in Pisces. The North Node is connected to the destiny. The sun is our life force and our vitality. So I love this conjunction. You could have an epiphany about your future direction. Both the sun and the North Node are opposite the moon, which is conjunct the South Node, as I shared before. And the moon conjunct the South Node can bring up subconscious fears or other negative emotions for us to be aware of, to observe, and to release. And as I mentioned, a karmic ending could be a part of this eclipse, or it could be a sense of, here's what I've learned since the nodes went into Pisces and Virgo, January of 2025. Here's what I've learned. Here's how I'm different. Here's what I wouldn't repeat again. Now, I love this super supportive aspect that we're going to get with this eclipse. The moon in Virgo is going to sextile Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. A sextile is an opportunity, a solution, a tangible blessing coming into form. This is lovely for relationship healing or expanding your love with a family member or, deepening it, or very positive for making your home more of a sanctuary or something happening or shifting that increases your emotional security. Jupiter is retrograde in Cancer, so this may have to do with something that has already happened in the past coming around again. It could be a second chance with somebody or another opportunity for healing or just for renewing your own energy and feeling more at home, Cancer energy, at home within your own self and heart. The sun in Pisces will also harmonize with Jupiter, and I think this is going to make us feel more uplifted. I think there's going to be a hope and an optimism that we receive from this eclipse, which I absolutely love. And because the sun is connected to our life force, our vitality, and the roles that we play, how we want to be seen, our identity, this could be something that falls into your lap because it's a trine, and a trine is ease and flow, and it just happens. It is the wind at your back, truly. And so, my friend, if you are having to make a difficult choice or decision during this eclipse time, this aspect may make it easier. For example, if you're being transferred to another job or you're being promoted, but that means you have to move and you don't really want to move, or you're being given another opportunity, but it's making you realize how a relationship has run its course, and that's very difficult. This aspect between Jupiter and the sun and the moon, so harmonious, I think that's going to make it easier to let go of what has to be released. In Cancer, we love that warm, cozy feeling. So this could be an eclipse where you do just want to stay home and be under a blanket and eating your favorite comfort food. You could feel very nostalgic. Both Pisces and Cancer energy tend toward nostalgia for sure. We can look back on our past and say, oh, it was so amazing then. Remember the life I used to have. We could do that. So we want to be aware of that. But if you do that, my friend, then I highly encourage you to sense and feel all of the wonderful energies and just let them infuse every cell of your being, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between past, present, or future. So in that way, you're using wonderful past memories for healing and for manifesting your future. And Jupiter is wonderful protective energy. It's a good time to call in the protection of your guides, your angels, your ancestors maybe, especially if you're feeling extra tender or emotionally vulnerable during this eclipse. Now, I want to share two more things with you, and then we're going to do the 12 sign readings. Who will most feel this lunar eclipse, and when was the last time we had a lunar eclipse at the same degree point? The eclipse is happening at 12 degrees, 51 minutes of Virgo, pretty much 13 degrees. So those of you who have planets or points between 8 and 17 degrees of Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you will feel this most intensely. We are all going to feel it wherever we have 13 degrees of Virgo in our chart. We will at the very least feel the themes of that house. And then eclipses are felt through the collective because of their intensity. Now, when was the last time that we had a South Node lunar eclipse in Virgo at 13 degrees? I'm emphasizing South Node because if this eclipse were conjunct the North Node, it would be a very different eclipse. So first of all, we had a South Node lunar eclipse in Virgo just 1 year ago, March 13th or 14th, depending on your time zone, 2025. That was at 23 degrees, so it was a full 10 degrees away from the lunar eclipse we're going to have this year, 2026, March 3rd. However, I'm bringing it up for you because the lunar nodes had just entered Pisces and Virgo 2 months earlier. And that eclipse could have felt like the start of something for you that is potentially playing out around this eclipse time. So you might think back to that time. Did anything come up for you? Were you navigating a challenge? Was something manifesting? Did you have a new vision or dream? The last time that we had a South Node lunar eclipse in Virgo, close to the same degree point as this one that we're about to have, we have to go back to March of 2007. March of 2007. It was on the 3rd, just like this will be on the 3rd. It was a lunar eclipse conjunct the South Node at 13 degrees of Virgo. So what happened for you then? The other transiting planets were in different signs then, so don't get caught up so much in was what happened to you positive or negative. Instead, I want you to look at the themes. And I'll give you a quick example from my own life. So I have 13 degrees of Virgo in my 3rd house, but it is on the cusp of my 4th house. And when you have an eclipse on the cusp of your 1st, 7th, 4th, or 10th houses. That's very significant. That often marks a turning point in your life, which I was going through. I was going through the last wave of grief of the end of my 22-year marriage. And also, I had just gone through an ending of the first relationship post my divorce. And so I was in a very introspective time, a very deep time of emotional release. So I gave myself a trip to a place that is like the home of my soul. When I'm in this place, I feel so connected to the earth. The healing vibes are out of this world for me. And that place, a lot of you might be able to relate to this, is Hawaii. I went to Hawaii when I was just 16 years old, right after my father suddenly passed away from a heart attack. And so you can imagine, age 16, I had just had this cataclysmic event in my life. And from then on, I've always been incredibly connected to Hawaii as a very healing energy for me. So I went to both Kauai and the Big Island. I hiked out to see the lava flow into the ocean, and I felt incredibly rooted there, the fourth house. But also, I was doing this long distance trip, and the ninth house, representing long distance travel, is across from the third house, where the eclipse was actually happening in my chart. So that gives you a sense of how you might apply the themes of the houses to what happened for you then and what may be happening for you during this eclipse. So before we go to your 12 sign readings, I want to leave you with one last tip, which is very simple. It's about going with the flow, riding with the tide. I don't know the author of these words of wisdom, but they are: it is best to ride the horse in the direction that it's going. Okay, my beautiful friend, let us do your 12 sign readings now. Listen to your rising sign. This is the area of your life corresponding to the area of your natal astrology chart in which you are likely to feel this lunar eclipse in Virgo. Also, listen to your sun and moon signs because the themes that apply and the oracle messages that you get may also feel quite relevant to your eclipse experience. We're going to start with Virgo because, beautiful Virgo, this is your lunar eclipse. And as I spoke about in part one of this video, an ending, a culmination, something coming full circle, something manifesting is likely what you will experience during this eclipse. And it could manifest in any area of your life. Why? Because this eclipse happens in your first house, the first house of you, which connects to your identity. And we can identify with anything important in our lives, right? It often connects to a role, a title, a relationship status, but also your appearance, your look, your vitality, how your health is right now. And if you are making a change or if a change is happening, sometimes changes just happen during eclipses, right? If a change is happening for you in your home and family, within your career or your job or your work or retirement, however you spend your time, or a relationship, this can often happen during an eclipse because the first house is an angle of your chart and it can affect any of the other angles as well. So Virgo, I really hope you watch part one of this video because I talk about when did we last have an eclipse in this house. I talk about the nodes of the moon and the story that began with those, when that happened and when that is closing out. And those are all really important things for you to know and to be able to track so that you can get a sense of what might be going on for you during this eclipse. And I want to pull a card for you, so let's see what the cards have to say. And I would be very surprised if some of you aren't going through something, whether it's a new beginning or something closing out, especially in a relationship or in your own sense of how you want to express yourself, how you want to experience life, often in some sort of role, whether it is work or a volunteer position, or any important relationship. So Virgo, what is most important to you now? What is beginning? What might be ending? If you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear. And let's see what the cards have to say for you, beautiful Virgo. Because I know a lot of you Virgos especially say, you didn't sing my sign when I didn't do it. So here we go. Virgo. Your card is, ooh, the spirit of the river, movement toward adventure. Do you have an adventure that you are moving toward? I love this card so much. And one of the things I love about this card is how ephemeral the image is, and it's very Pisces, and we have so many planets in Pisces sitting across from this full moon. You know, we have 4 planets plus the North Node of Destiny in Pisces. So this card is very watery and Piscean, right? And when I look at it, I actually think this is a person down here. Do you see somebody's legs? I think this is a person. It reminds me of a feeling like there's something larger than life. Like if you look at the size of this person and then the size of this image, there's something larger than life that you're perceiving, all the light, something you are perceiving that maybe is humbling you in a good way. That's maybe something you're in awe of. You know, we can look up up at the stars and just be like, or out at the ocean and just be in awe. There's something that you may not fully grasp because it's such a spiritual nature, but it is pulling you toward a new adventure. So if you have a new adventure that you want to claim, the spirit of the river, this is a very spiritual card. Something that is pulling you forward that feels very spiritual, or something you can't put your finger on. It's larger than life, but it is calling you forward. Beautiful Virgo. Let us know in the comments. I would love to know. Leo. Hello, beautiful Leo. Leo, you are going to experience your lunar eclipse in Virgo. This is our last South Node eclipse, meaning there's a karmic ending here, and I go into that in much more detail in part 1 of this video if you want to know more. But where you're going to experience it is in your 2nd house of material security, your earned income, your self-worth, deserving. So an eclipse in the 2nd house, often a lunar eclipse, is something is coming full circle or ending, something's being eclipsed out of our life. Not always. It depends on whether this eclipse is activating any planets or points in your natal chart. And I talk about what those are in part 1 of this video. Most notably, if you have planets or points in the mutable signs around this degree point of 13. But anything can happen, Leo, during an eclipse. Anything can happen. It doesn't have to mean that you're losing money, for example. It doesn't have to mean that an income is going away. But remember, eclipses, they are leading us in the direction of our soul. They want us to align with our higher path. And so if you are closing out an income source, or if you are going through anything connected with your self-worth, it could be a moment of, look how far I've come, look how I've grown, look how much I know what I deserve that I didn't used to know that I deserve, for example. That could be shifting for you. But if anything is going away or ending that you didn't want to go away or end, it is your soul calling you forward to something else, which is easier for me to say than it is for anyone to experience when they don't yet know what that new thing is, right? And if you don't yet know, Leo, I would ask myself, if time, money, and energy weren't at issue, what would I desire? What would I most want? I would ask myself that, because oftentimes there is something that sparks more aliveness, which is what, you know, we're meant to experience, especially you, Leo, with all of that fire and you being connected to the heart and you being ruled by the sun. You are meant to feel that sense of spark and aliveness and passion. You're a very passionate sign. So I would ask myself, what am I passionate about? Would I allow myself to be passionately drawn toward if I didn't have to worry about paying my bills, for example? Not to say that you don't have to still pay your bills, we all do, but we want to start there. We want to start with, what would I do if I didn't have any restrictions? What would I give myself permission to do, be, or have? So Leo, with those questions asked, I want to pull a card for you now and let us see what the cards have to say for you, beautiful Leo. Leo, for your eclipse, lunar eclipse in Virgo, in your 2nd house of material security. And before I turn over the card, let me say one more thing. you could get a revelation. You could get an aha moment. You could get a shift of perspective that shows you how you can go about or what you truly desire that will bring you more material security as well. Okay, now your card. It is the unmarked trail oh my gosh, revelation. Oh, I have to laugh when those things happen. Okay. So yes, you could get a revelation. That's so funny because I had already shuffled and I was ready to turn the card over. And I said, before I do, let me tell you about you could get a revelation. And then that's on the card. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? And here's the energy that reminds me of you, Leo. It's the green. I always think of you because the heart chakra vibrates to green and you are connected to the heart. So how cool is that? You will build what you want one step at a time, one rock at a time. This rock tower, right? One rock at a time. You will go. It's okay that it's unmarked because you are forging a new trail. If anything that I shared resonates for you and you want to claim your unmarked trail, that you are taking the road less traveled, that you are pioneering something perhaps. After all, Leo, Saturn and Neptune now in Aries, they trine your energy. Trines are the best aspects we can get. You're getting a trine from Saturn and Neptune together. They represent making a new dream real. And that energy is just harmonizing with your energy so much. You have all the support that you need to go forward into new territory. Beautiful Leo. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. Cancer, you are going to experience this lunar eclipse in Virgo in your third house of moving and shaking, your mindset, your communication. The third house includes your local environment, your hood, your neighbors, conversations, wherever you hang out, the people that you see regularly, if you go to a gym or you do yoga or where you grocery shop, the places that you frequent, the local meetup groups, any kind of networking. Also, if you have a website, if you are a freelancer, if you have your own business, any writing that you do, emails, messages that you put out, a book or some sort of article or some sort of course you might be putting together. This is the house of growth and learning too. So it's a mercurial house. And Mercury rules movement, right? So like I spoke about in part one of this video, I talk about a trip that I took the last time that we had an eclipse at this degree point, and that's movement. So even though it's the third house and not the ninth house of long distance travel, you could also be thinking about taking some sort of trip. And you get really lovely harmonizing energy with Virgo and your energy, Cancer. So, and not only that, but as I speak about in part one of this video, we have a trine from Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter is retrograde, but it is going to make a really nice trine to the sun in Pisces and a sextile to the moon. The moon is going to sextile Jupiter retrograde in your sign, and the sun is going to trine that energy. So go back and watch part one if you want to know more about that, but that brings in a lot of lovely expansive energy. So this is a closing out and ending, a completion for many people, including Cancers, or it could be, endings and beginnings, they go together, right? So something could be ending and beginning and something could have already started for you. It just depends. We're all on different timelines with how we're pacing this eclipse energy. But Cancer, you could also be changing up the way that you do your work if you do any kind of freelance work or if you have your own business. You could be changing location. You could be moving, especially if 13 degrees of Virgo is close to your fourth house, like it is to mine. You could be considering a move. You could be moving an office. You could be moving your home. You could be changing your mindset. Or you could be going through some relationship shift with a sibling, with an aunt, uncle, cousin, whether you're healing a relationship, whether you are, there's a karmic ending aspect to this, as I speak about in part one. So you could be going through some sort of wrap up of a relationship as well. Just know that big picture, the third house wants you to be in the right environment. It wants you to be in the right energy. So if anything that you do is not energetically correct for you, any environment, this eclipse may be reassigning you to a new environment on any level, work or home or, whatever it is. And you could be traveling to a new place to get a sense of, is this where I want to be instead? So let us see what the cards have to say for you, beautiful Cancer, for your eclipse. And I do always really encourage you to watch part 1 because there's so much more in that applies to all the signs that I can't repeat for every sign, or we would be here all night. Okay, beautiful Cancer, let us see. And also Cancer, and I always forget to say this for you, you are more affected by the eclipses than the other signs because the moon rules your sign. So just so you know that any eclipse, every new moon and full moon, whether it's an eclipse or not, you're going to feel it more intensely, but especially eclipses. So give yourself lots of grace around an eclipse time and know that the energy can be very wonky at times and that you will probably need more rest. You could be very enlivened too. You do get a lovely sextile from the Virgo energy to your energy, and that is often a new opportunity or a solution, something coming together for you, a tangible blessing. But also keep in mind that, eclipses can be draining temporarily. Okay. Cancer, now your card. Your card is, the Beloved, radical acceptance. So there's so much fire in this card. There is something that you might have to accept that isn't a change that you would want, that you would have ordered off the menu. However, I also see beloved in here 2 different ways. One is your beloved, whether you are in relationship with them now physically or not, calling in your beloved, perhaps meeting your beloved. Maybe you're having dreams about a person that you are yet to meet, that you are going to meet. This could be talking about your soulmate coming in to your actual life. It could also be about you deepening your relationship with your own beloved self, with your inner beloved. And if that's the case, you might want to check out my book, Magic of Saying Yes, in which I give you guidance, tips, and tools, and share my own stories about deepening your own relationship with your soul, partnering with your spirit. And if there is something, beautiful Cancer, that you have to accept that you would not have chosen, it is freeing you. It is absolutely freeing you for something that is going to be so much better for you. And it's number 2. So number 2, relationship. If anything I shared resonates or intrigues you and you want to share in the comments, let me know. I would love to hear. Gemini. Hello, beautiful Gemini. I have my natal sun in Gemini. Your lunar eclipse in Virgo is happening in your 4th house of home, family, your roots, your sense of belonging. This can be ancestral healing. It can be inner child conditioning. It is the lowest point in our chart. So it is often a very personally felt full moon eclipse. Very, very personal. In part 1 of this video, I share what happened for me the last time we had an eclipse at this degree point. That was a South Node eclipse. So if you haven't watched that, I encourage you to go back and watch that. I talk about a very personal experience that I had. This is that kind of full moon eclipse for you. Also, when we have an eclipse in our 4th house, it can affect any of the other areas of our chart because it's on an angle of your chart. It can affect your career or your work or your retirement if you're retired. It can affect your relationships and it can affect your sense of identity. It can be an identity shift, whether you're shifting a role personally or professionally or relationship status. You get the idea. It makes a square to your energy. And what I love about squares, as uncomfortable as they can be, is that they get us out of our comfort zone. They get us to make some sort of a shift. They get us to take some sort of action that is in our best interest to take, something that we really need to take to feel better and to feel more in our power and to feel like we are moving forward. Hence, what I was doing in the story that I shared in part 1. So, Gem, what is going on for you in your life right now? Now, the 4th house, in its most literal expression, would be a move, or you thinking about where do you want to live instead of where you are. And it's most literal, playing out in this part of your chart. You could be asking, where would I feel most rooted? What is my place of belonging? Where does my soul really want to be? And we can ask that question, and then we can apply all the practical factors of life, right? Like, how much does housing cost there? And, do I have friends there? Or, would I feel at home there? All the things that come to mind when we are thinking about a move. So I want to validate those are not easy questions a lot of the time. Sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's so obvious. It's like, well, my family's there and I want to be near my family, so I'm going there. But it's not always that easy. And sometimes we can feel a push-pull between different places. So I want to acknowledge that, because that is something that I have felt a lot in my life, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. This is also a time that inner child healing could be really helpful for you, going through any sort of EFT tapping process, or any process that helps you to release any fears that you might have about knowing or not knowing what's next for you. And that's going to be a very palpable energy, I think, for a lot of people during this eclipse, this sense of, well, I know it's not working for me, but I don't know for sure where I am to go or be next. So if that's up for you, Gem, then that would also be very natural. But big picture, this eclipse is saying you are being pulled forward by a vision. What is your vision? We really just want to start with our vision. And if it's a new home, if it's a new job or work situation, or you doing a vocation, or you expressing your purpose or your passion, or a relationship, whatever it is, I encourage you to write out your vision and then get in the vortex and feel and sense, what does it feel like to be experiencing this? So that you can get that attractor field, you can begin to create that attractor field, that chi that will help you to magnetize that to you. And it doesn't have to be so much mental work, because we gems can get very mental about how we're going to make something happen. We get very logical, right? We're very mercurial. And oftentimes it is not going to come to us that way. It's going to come in a more natural flow kind of way. If you look back to some of the things that have happened in your life, you probably would say, I didn't logically figure this out. It just happened. I met this person, I went to this place. Like, it's one step at a time, right? One clue at a time. The soul gives us a sign. The soul, your spirit says, do this, go here, da, da, da. It's often one thing at a time that then adds up to where you wanted to be. So just a reminder for some of you, if you needed to hear that, because I know I need to hear that sometimes. Like, we try to figure it out all up here, but it's not usually the way it works. In gems, you have the ability you are the alchemist. You have one foot in both worlds. You have one foot in the ethereal world, one foot in this practical world, and you have the ability to get those signs and receive those magical moments of awareness by being the alchemist, co-creating your reality with the divine. That goes back to the getting in the vortex, like I said. So now let's see what the cards have to say for you, beautiful Gemini. What do you want next in your life? What are you on the verge of? What is your heart yearning for? What do you think this eclipse is about for you when we apply these themes? If you want to leave me a comment, I would love to hear. Gemini. Your card is New Beginnings, the Moon Maiden. Such a pretty card. Here we have the full moon. She is submerged. She is an angel swimming in the green. She is swimming in the river, in the waters of her heart, in the ocean, river, whatever water this is, of her heart. She's swimming in her own heart's energy. She is embodying the energy of the moon, the light of the moon. During this full moon, you may want to, it is an eclipse. It is a lunar eclipse. So the orange of the moon, you may want to really, talk to the moon, receive its energy. Notice the hits that you get. Notice the intuitive nudges or sense that you get, because a new beginning is waiting for you and the Moon Maiden wants to deliver it to you, beautiful gem. If this resonates or anything else that I shared and you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear. Taurus. Hello, beautiful Taurus. Taurus, you're going to experience this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 5th house of love, romance, children, creativity, your unbridled, free, authentic expression, allowing yourself the freedom, the adventure, the love, the delight, all of the things that your inner child would love for you to say yes to. That is this eclipse for you. So it's a lunar eclipse, so it's an ending. Something is ending. It could be having to do with children. It could be something in their life is ending, or something, a new beginning always comes after an ending, right? So keep that in mind when I talk about endings, because it can be a manifestation too. It can be something opening up, something bearing fruit with a child, or in love and romance, or and also I'm just being nudged to mention how Mercury's retrograde. I talk about this in part 1 of this video, but sometimes during a Mercury retrograde, somebody can come back into our life that was, we were lovers with in a past life, or somebody who we had, a relationship with before, and they're coming back for whatever reason. We don't always know until we see how that plays out, right? But this is also the house of your creative expression. So, big picture, some sort of a revelation, an aha moment, a feeling of full circle, completion, or a new beginning in any of these areas could be happening. I do believe that because it's a South Node eclipse, a lot of us are going to feel this in terms of an ending or completion. But then once you close that door, once you realize something's over, then the new beginning is right there, right? So it's really both. It's always both. But where do you want to feel more free, Taurus? Where do you want to feel more expressive? Where do you want to feel more like, I keep getting this feeling of freedom, like you want to do it your way. You want to feel like you can authentically express. That's the vibe I'm getting most strongly for you. And you get a really nice trine from Virgo energy to your energy. So a trine is the wind at your back. A trine is you don't really do much with a trine. Sometimes we can be quote unquote lazy with trines because we don't have to do anything, but a trine, if the universe wants to bless you during this eclipse, and we are getting that wonderful energy from the eclipse to Jupiter as well, then you could be just feeling like something is landing in your lap, or something's just playing out without a hitch, so to speak. You just feel like a really nice flow for you. Okay, Taurus, let's see what the cards have to say for you. Taurus. For your Virgo lunar eclipse, your card is experiencing life as it comes. Yes, being in the flow. This card is called the Drifter. What is the Drifter about? It's saying that some of you could feel like you've been drifting. There's so much Pisces energy in this card. There's all this water, and there's the light here, and you could feel like you're drifting and you don't really know where you're going. It could feel like your creativity, because it's the 5th house, your creativity has been stalled. It could feel like something you've been trying to bring into fruition has not come into fruition, and that's frustrating. It is a 14, which reduces to a 5, which is change, transformation, freedom. No wonder I kept getting that vibe of freedom for you. That's the 5 energy. You are meant to be, you have been, the drifting is meant to be. It's meant to be. You are meant now to go with the flow and experience life as it comes. That is taking you toward the light. That is taking you toward your destination, beautiful Taurus. So know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. And if that or anything else I've shared resonates for you or helps you, and you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear. Aries. Hello, beautiful Aries. Aries, are you feeling Saturn and Neptune now completely, firmly back in your sign? They have done their conjunction at the 0 point. That actually happened today when I'm filming this video. I hope you're feeling the strength of that, although something could be dissolving from your life. That's part of that transit, but you are meant to make a new dream real with that conjunction in your first house. But let's talk about this eclipse. So, this lunar eclipse in Virgo is happening in your sixth house of health, wellness, daily work, routines, schedules, your lifestyle, how you use your energy. It's really the house of optimal health. It is the house of, is everything flowing the way I want it to flow in my life? Am I managing my energy well? Am I, eating well? Am I sleeping well? Am I happy with how much time my work takes up or doesn't take up? You get the idea. It's also pets. So it is a lunar eclipse conjunct the South Node, which is asking us to look at anything that is meant to leave this area of your life. So, for example, a habit that you are realizing is not good for you, too much sugar, or not enough sleep, or doing a job that feels toxic to you in any way, a work environment, coworkers, anything that doesn't align with you. Maybe you have been overworking. Maybe you have overworked a lot in your life. Aries can really burn out. I know this well. I have Mars in Aries. So it could be saying you need more balance in your life with a routine, with a habit, with the way that you work, or it's just time for you to shift how you do your life, which I know sounds like a big deal, but most of us know, right? Most of us know if there's something that's in our life that's too consuming, that is draining our energy, that is not good, or it could just be that because Aries, you are very connected to your sign, rules the adrenals, it rules the brain. Like you could be working right now on shifting how you manage your energy. If your adrenals need more nourishment, for example, if you give too much, if you go all out too much, too often with what you do, Aries, I know that a lot of Aries do, they give their everything to their work. Or, you can give everything to your work. I'm not saying you do, but you tend to go all in and that can drain you. So you get the idea. It's like something that will improve your energy by shifting it or leaving it behind. Or you may just be ready for a new work environment. You may be ready for a new job. You may be, ready to shift how you take care of your body. You get the idea. So Aries, an ending, if that's happening, it always precedes a new beginning. So what is the new, our human selves don't much like endings, generally speaking, unless it's something we're so happy that we're getting away from. But what does your heart want for a new beginning? What is your vision? If you want to share that in the comments, I would love to know. And let's see what the cards have to say for your lunar eclipse in Virgo. Aries, your card is Aries. You've gotten this card before, kind of recently in another one of my videos. I don't remember which one, but it is Lay of the Land, Ancestral Wisdom. And I know this because when I see this red energy, it reminds me of you, of your fire. And here we have this moon on fire, right? This full moon on fire. It looks like a lunar eclipse. I mean, lunar eclipses are usually that orange color, and it is so on fire. And this looks like a pinnacle moment for you. It looks like a celebrational moment. This person at the top with their arms up, they are in that celebrational stance. I made it. They're in that stance of I made it. I made it to the top of the mountain. And you could be at a point in your life where you're like, I'm just getting the lay of the land where I am now. I've just landed here. I need to get my bearings. I need to get my coordinates. I need to figure out where I am. And this is saying celebrate how far you've come and tap into ancestral wisdom, because our ancestors, as much as we have healed or need to heal through the ancestral line, often through the shadow side of it, there's also light in the wisdom of our ancestors. And so any ancestors that you work with or that you could tap into, whose wisdom you could tap into, this card is really encouraging that. And I also find these circles, these pools, very compelling. If you have a sense of what that means, I mean, the circles are wholeness, circles are mandalas, right? But I get the feeling you've landed somewhere that is a place of safety and protection as well. If you want to share anything that you see in this card or anything else, beautiful Aries, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. Pisces. Hello, beautiful Pisces. Pisces, you're going to be experiencing this lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 7th house of committed partnerships, whether they are business relationships or romance or best friendships or people that are very important in your life right now. You are going to feel this there. But Pisces, we've got so much energy in your sign as well. We've got 4 planets plus the North Node of Destiny in your sign. And because this eclipse, like all eclipses, aligns with the nodes of the moon and the north nodes of destiny is in your sign and the south nodes in Virgo, and this is the south node eclipse, I think you're really going to be feeling this. So the south node has been, of course, transiting your 7th house for some time now, where the moon is. And this is, for some Pisces, an ending to a karmic bond. For other Pisces, this could be something that's ending that, has to do with a partnership dynamic, maybe. Maybe it's a pattern that you have had in relationships that is meant to be seen, any emotions that come along with that to be felt and purged, as we say. It will probably be one or two of those things, or it can be, it could be a business relationship. It could be a coworker relationship. It could be a relationship in which you feel like it could be a supervisor, somebody that you realize, okay, there was a karmic lesson with this relationship. I have learned it. I've moved through it. I've up leveled, so to speak, as a result of it. And now I can release it. Sometimes that means we leave the work environment. Sometimes we don't need to. Sometimes we get another job within the same place, or, we get a promotion, or we leave, we start our own business. It could be anything. Pisces, this eclipse for you is in your 7th house, and that's an angle of your chart, which means whatever happens could catalyze a move. It could catalyze a shift in your career, in your work life, or in your retirement, how you spend your time if you don't work. It could create a shift in your own sense of identity, the change of your status in a role, whether it's a role, personal role, or another. We've got so many roles, right? All of our relationships, whether they're friendships, sister brother relationships, relationships to mother, father, whether they're here or not, siblings, the relationship to yourself, the relationship to your own soul. For some of you, because sometimes people will say, well, I'm not in a partnership, so how does this apply to me? This could be your own desire to have a deeper relationship with your spirit, with your soul, which is a lot of what my book is about, FYI, if that's something that interests you. I always link that in the description box below. But this is an important eclipse for you. It's an important eclipse for you. And in part 1, I talk about when did we last have an eclipse at this degree point. And last year we had an eclipse, not at this degree point, but we had another eclipse in March of 2025. So watch part 1 if you haven't already, Pisces, because there's so much energy in your sign during this eclipse. And we are closing out the eclipses on this axis, the Pisces Virgo axis. We're closing those out this year. Next year, we're going to have one in Virgo, but it's not going to be conjunct the nodes in Pisces and Virgo. And that really changes the energy, FYI. I sound so funny when I say that, FYI. I don't mean it. Anyway. So let us pull a card for you now and see what the cards have to say. Every ending precedes a new beginning. Every ending, every door closing opens a door, a new door. So what new door do you want to open, Pisces? What fresh beginning do you want to have? What is your heart What's calling to your heart? Let's see what the cards have to say for you. Pisces, your card is getting back to integrity, the lost compass. Do you feel like you've been lost? Do you feel like you have been not feeling completely whole? That's what when I hear the word integrity, I think of wholeness. I think of truth. I think of illumination. And there's so much light in this card. It's a compass. There's the center, there's the true north. There is all of these rays of light. This is such a gorgeous card. The number 35 reduces to an 8, which is power, material security, the infinity symbol, feeling in flow with the divine, which is your energy, Pisces. So this card is saying something, it's also, you know, if I didn't say it already, it's material success, the 8 as well. There's something that is ready for you to manifest. This is really the Wheel of Fortune, right? It's really the Wheel of Fortune as well. If you have felt like the Wheel of Fortune has not turned in the direction that favors you, it's time for that for you. It's time for that. And to get there, to realize that there's something that is coming back into integrity for you. So if you feel at all out of alignment with your soul's purpose, with your truth, this card is saying the way to align is to get back into integrity with the truth of who you are, beautiful Pisces. If you want to claim that or anything else in the comments, I love hearing from you. Aquarius. Hello, beautiful Aquarius. Aquarius, you're going to experience your Virgo lunar eclipse in the 8th house of relationships. It's a partnership house and a financial house. How is the 8th house different from the 7th house of committed relationships? It's where we take that commitment into tangible, everyday life, where, for example, we take a relationship from I love this person and I'm committed to them to now we're living together. Now we're buying a house together. Now we're combining our money. Now we are, and I'm not saying all relationships are ones in which you do that, but there is in the 8th house a sharing of time, money, and resources. There is an intimacy, emotional or physical. You know, it's our sexuality. It's also all the things that we have attachments to emotionally. That's why we call it the house of death and rebirth, because we want to hold on to our things in the 8th house. We don't want anyone moving our stuff in the 8th house. We want to hold on to the value of our home. We want to keep our long-term savings. We've got our investments here. Our, you know, this is retirement funds or, you know, money in the bank or your relationship with a bank or your relationship with a brokerage firm, getting a mortgage, taxes. This is debts. It's all the financial things that can make us feel secure or not secure if we lose those things or if we don't have investments, and we wish we did. You get the idea. So an eclipse in the 8th house can be quite transformational. It can feel like a death and rebirth. It can feel like a part of you is dying and a new self is, you know, you're going from the cocoon to the butterfly, for example. It can be anything, any financial theme, especially where we're sharing resources. It's also clients. It's also money from clients or business partnerships. So what does it mean to have a lunar eclipse here? Lunar eclipses, as I speak about at length in part 1 of this video, are about endings and completions, especially this one conjunct the South Node. The South Node is what is leaving or what we are cleansing, detoxing from, because it has a shadow element to it. So we're detoxing and cleansing from the shadow of Virgo energy during this eclipse, or we're meant to, which is being too controlling, too overly, and being overly overly analytical, too perfectionistic, so detail oriented that we are losing our view of, the bigger perspective. Those can be themes, but also, you know what's going on here for you, Aquarius. You have to know. I mean, some of you could be selling a house. Some of you could be rethinking savings or retirement funds if you have them. I would definitely, I'm not a financial planner. This is not financial advice at all. But if I were having an eclipse in my 8th house, I would definitely be looking at, and I did have savings, I did have retirement, I did have money in the stock market, especially. I would be looking at, do I like the way it's allocated? That's what I would personally be doing. But again, not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor by any means. You could be going through a dividing up of resources for sure. Some of you, not all of you, but if a relationship is ending, you could definitely be in that process or thinking about, how you would divide up resources. Keep in mind Mercury's retrograde. And so, as I said in part 1, the jury is still out. There's still thinking, rethinking, refining of any plans during this eclipse. And eclipses are not times to initiate anything, any sort of, like, I would not initiate a divorce during an eclipse. I would not initiate anything that could be like an earthquake going off in your life, right? That could be cataclysmic. No, I would always wait for that. And some of you might ask me, well, how long should I wait? I don't know. I have to see your chart. I have to do a chart reading for you to know anything about timing in your chart. For sure, I look at all the transits when I do chart readings. We don't look at one isolated transit or an isolated eclipse. We have to look at everything together because they all are woven together. So Aquarius, let us do a card reading for you and see what the cards have to say. If you want to leave me a comment, let me know what's going on in your life. Let us all know. I love that we're a like-minded community. You're about community, Aquarius, and that we can all support one another in the comments. Let's see what the cards have to say for you. Aquarius. Curiosity. This is such a cool card. There's a high-tech sense to this person, right? Don't they look bionic? It reminds me of your energy, Aquarius, being the high-tech sign that you are, the sign that rules technology. And this is saying be curious. If you walked up to this being, this, whatever you want to call it, right? This other, they look like an extra terrestrial, right? They look like they're not from this planet. If you saw them, would you get scared and run away, or would you be curious and approach them? This is saying be curious and approach them. Ask questions. There's something new on the horizon that wants to come through for you. You see these flares of light, these laser. This person has some sort of a laser something, right? There's a lot that you can create is what I'm getting, Aquarius. There's a lot that can be created with you tapping into the cosmic intelligence. It's your strength. You are connected. You rule the cosmic intelligence. Your sign does. You can send your feelers out, your intentions out, and receive resources, receive ideas, receive possibilities. Something may not be what it looks like. It's not as it seems, is what I'm getting. Something is not as it seems. So allow your heart to be open, allow your mind to be open, especially to what seems strange to you, and be curious about it, because there's new information that wants to be shown to you that could open a door, a new possibility, a gift. And curiosity is a great way to be open to the gifts and the divine magic that the universe wants to bring you. Beautiful Aquarius. Capricorn. Hello, beautiful Capricorn. Capricorn, your Virgo lunar eclipse is happening in your 9th house of expansion, which I love. I love it because this is a house of adventures and freedom and tapping into new horizons, tapping into higher learning, which can be a degree program, or it can be a certification program, or it can be self-study. But it's about questing and seeking and getting to know another part of yourself, a new essence of you being expressed, coming online, so to speak. this is the house in which we often want to share what we've learned. It's the house of astrology in the big zodiac. It's connected to any kind of teaching, learning, publishing, podcasting, broadcasting, becoming your own philosopher, meeting up with new teachers or gurus, getting in touch with your truth, getting in touch with other cultures, other languages, long distance travel, seeking justice, experiencing justice, the law, the scales. The ninth house is a lot of different things, but big picture, it wants to show you a higher perspective. It wants to expand you. It wants to show you new scenery in a literal form or metaphorically. So because it's a lunar eclipse conjunct the South Node, this could be something ending. Some of you could be graduating from some sort of degree or learning program. Some of you could be hanging out your shingle to do something that you just did a learning program in. You just got certified, or you just got your whatever it is, your licensing, whatever it is, and now you are able to do that thing. That there's a fine line between an ending and a beginning, right? There's a fine line between graduating and starting a new whatever it is for you. So you could be in that process, anywhere in that process. If there's something you're really enthusiastic about that you want to share, you want to speak about, you want to teach, you want to learn, this is a big yes for that, because it's an eclipse. And eclipses they pick us up and put us down in the place that we're meant to be. So you could be doing some sort of a spiritual retreat. You could be walking away from a religion. You could be having a spiritual awakening. You could be reading something, reading books that are really opening you up. I know when I went through the biggest awakening, I've had a number of mini awakenings, but my biggest awakening, I read so many books. I was just like, I couldn't get enough. I wanted to know about past lives. I wanted to know about different ways of thinking. I wanted to know about every possible thing you could read about on a metaphysical level, right? And maybe you've been through that, Capricorn, or maybe some of you are going through that now, that ascension path. Eclipses are ascension full moons, and something could be leaving your life. Something could be crystallizing, coming into your life. You do get a trine from this energy. So when we get these lovely trines, the wind at our back, something can fall into our lap. It can be so magical and synchronistic, and there isn't always a whole lot we have to do to experience that. That could be happening for you as well, Capricorn. So let us see what the cards have to say for you, for your Virgo lunar eclipse. In your ninth house of expansion. And I talk about the transits that are going on in part one of this video, and one of the aspects to the moon, and one of them is from Jupiter, which is also very expansive. So Jupiter's across from you on the zodiac wheel, in your seventh house. So something could be happening for you within a relationship too that is quite a blessing. Capricorn, your card is it is teachability. How interesting when the ninth house is about teaching too, right? And learning. How interesting. This is such an esoteric card because it's called the hollow bone. I'm going to show it to you so you can, I invite you to look at what is the first thing that comes to you when you see this. When I look at this, I see a creative piece of art that somebody has made. But what is it made of? It's made of all of these things from nature, right? And it's made of, there's this skull, right? And this looks like an elk. And it reminds me of, the elk is often connected to the wise teacher, but it also reminds me of like a death, like obviously with the skull, a death that is then turned into a creative work of art that is then, when we can express our emotions of grief and sadness and what has left our life. We can express that through creating art, like through a mosaic. You can put the pieces of broken pieces back together again in a mosaic that then it can heal us from the inside out. So that could be a message for some of you if you're going through something like that. If something has died, there is something that has left your life. You could be creating art literally or metaphorically from that. And this card is saying there is so much beauty in the truth of your soul's experience here, the adventure of your soul, the sadness, the loss, the grief, the beauty, the triumphs, I'm getting an image of stairs. The stairs that you have climbed, the levels that you have climbed in your soul's evolution. Remain open and teachable, and magic will come into your life. Once more, beautiful Capricorn, if anything I shared resonates and you want to share with me, I would love to hear. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius, beautiful Sag. Your Virgo lunar eclipse is happening in your 10th house of career, legacy, retirement, semi-retirement, life purpose, fulfillment, vocation, how you want to express your passion, some of you. The 10th house is the top of our chart. It's where we often appreciate some sort of recognition for the work, for the time that we put in, the hard work and so forth, but also most important, it's where we want to feel, a lot of us on a spiritual path, in alignment with our soul. Sag, this full moon, lunar eclipse in Virgo, makes a square to your energy, as it does for all the mutable signs, because it's happening on an angle of your chart, the 10th house, and this means you could feel it in career or profession or fulfillment, whether you feel fulfilled or not. You could feel it there, or you could feel it in your home and family sector. You could feel it in your sense of identity, a role that you play, whether it is a role through work or a role through another relationship, especially a very important relationship, a partnership, whether it's romantic, business, or best friendship, family relationship, or you could feel it in, really any area of your life. But the most important angles of your chart all get activated when you have an eclipse on the angle of your chart. If it's close to your midheaven, I don't want to get too technical, but if it's close to the degree of your midheaven especially. So what does this mean, a square? It means it's activating. It activates you. It gets you into action. It makes you want to, there's often tension or pressure that we feel when a planet or a point is getting activated in our chart. And it makes us feel like, I've got to make a move. I've got to do something about this. I've got to move the energy. Something's ending. It's time for me to, like, if your job is ending, if you know that it's time for a promotion, but maybe you've asked for one and you're not getting one. Maybe you know that you've outgrown your job. Maybe you've got the golden handcuffs thing going on where you just like, I need to retire, or I need a different work because I just can't, but I'm like dependent on this income, that could be it too. There's so many ways that this could express itself. But because it's a lunar eclipse, and if it is activating a point in your chart or a planet in your chart, it probably, if you are not consciously choosing to let go of something, it might let go of you. That can happen. And I know that's really hard when that happens, although universally, whenever I worked with a client in coaching, for example, and that's happening, they always say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that happened, but there's going to be a grief process. There's going to be a letting go. Our human self does not want to be let go of anything, right? We want to choose. We want to choose the change. So some of you might choose, and some of you the universe may help you along, so to speak. Or this can involve a house move for you. It can involve a change in your home, whether it's a house move or somebody moving out of your house, or maybe a child moving out. It could be an empty nest situation. Sometimes it's a divorce or another major relationship shift, and it shows up in the house of our home, family, or career. That can happen too, because everything affects everything else, right? But there's, as I said in another reading, there is a fine line between an ending and a beginning. An ending opens a door for something new. And in the moment when it's happening, We don't know what that something new is sometimes, and that's when it can be have the grief process, we can have the good cry, we can feel momentarily or temporarily unstable. And if that's happening, it's temporary. Sag, I know. I don't want anything that I'm not choosing to happen either. Believe me, I am right there with you. I don't either. And this is happening on an angle in my chart in the 4th house, the opposite of you, because I have a Gemini sun. But nevertheless, when I can zoom out and see the big picture and know that the universe is always moving us forward, the universe is always working for us, not against us, that can help. Plus, Sag, you have such a spirit of adventure. My experience of you is you flow pretty well with change because you are one of the mutable signs, and the mutable signs have an easier time flowing with change, but also you're fire. You've got so much fire. That really propels you forward. There's always a new adventure around the corner for you, Sag. So let's pull a card for you and see. It reminds me of the Michael Bernard Beckwith quote, something wonderful is always waiting to happen. That is a paraphrase, but that's the idea. So let's see what the cards have to say for you, Sag. Sagittarius. Sag, what I love about your energy is I always feel lighthearted in it. It's just the way I feel. Ooh, this is a cool card. This is about a soul initiation. Are you feeling this? The crossing. This is a bridge that you are crossing, Sag. You are crossing it. You are going through a soul initiation. A soul initiation happens when there's something that we desire or some new energy we desire to be in. It's a consciousness shifting passage, a rite of passage often. And it's not easy. It's very exciting. It can be exhilarating fear, like I talk about in my book. 54, 9, there's an ending, 9. 9's the end of a cycle. You are moving into the light, into a new soul essence. A new part of you is going to be expressed as you cross and get to the other side of this particular soul initiation. Beautiful Sag. I love, love, love this card. It is very deep. It is very primal, and it's a significant turning point in your life, a soul initiation. So if this resonates, or you want to even claim that you are going through a soul initiation, it takes courage, but you have it, Sag. You have it in spades. Let us know in the comments below. Scorpio. Hello, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, your lunar eclipse in Virgo is happening in your 11th house of friendships, fulfillment, the current dream of your life, allies, supporters. This is the house of deciding, what do I want next? Where do I want to go next? It's a beautiful place to have an eclipse. This eclipse is conjunct the South Node, which represents an ending. Lunar eclipses are already often endings, completions, letting go, something coming to fruition, something coming full circle. But conjunct the South Node, it amplifies the karmic quality of the energy. And it doesn't necessarily mean that, for example, a friendship is ending, or that, something that's been a real steady kind of anchor in your life is closing out. It could be that. But what it means more is that there's a karmic or fated quality to the eclipse. And fate can be wonderful, right? Fate can be serendipitous. It can be very magical. But some of you could be experiencing the ending of a friendship, supporters, the people that used to support you, that shifting. That happens, of course, when we grow, when we evolve, when we go in different directions from somebody else or a group that maybe you used to belong to. The 11th house is the house of tribe and groups. You could have really vibed with a particular organization, and now you are realizing that you're not in alignment with that anymore. And that's hard because, unless you have something to replace it right away, it can feel like a void. But The 11th house is also connected to branding, promotion, anything that you are, whether it's a product or service that you're putting out into the world, that maybe you want to start a new business. This isn't a new moon eclipse, which is the beginning of a new vision, but because it's an ending and a culmination, it's like we're on the verge of something new. We're on the verge of starting something new. So they go together. And like I said earlier, there's a fine line between these two. So both could be going on for you at the same time. Also, your focus could be on your long-term financial gains. What is your dream right now, Scorpio? What does your heart most want? That is the question of this eclipse. What are you letting go of? What is no longer in alignment with you? What are you meant to release? The 11th house is also in the tarot, the World card, which represents a cycle ending. A cycle ending. So I would say that that's definitely happening for you. Leave me a comment. Let me know if that's true for you. The beauty of your energy with Virgo energy is it's very harmonious. It's a sextile. So if this full moon eclipse is activating a planet or point in your Scorpio energy, your rising sign, for example, if it's close to the degree of your rising sign, then you're getting a lovely sextile, which is often an opportunity, a solution, something falling into place, something tangible that you desire. So that's really nice. So let's see what the cards have to say for you, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, for your full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, your card is moving out of stagnation. It is time. It is time. I'm going to tell you, this card is called the Dust Devil. What is the Dust Devil? The Dust Devil stirs things up. As part of your eclipse, you could feel that something's getting stirred up. This could be the frenemy, for example. Frenemies don't really fall in the 11th house, but sometimes, people can trigger us, right? It could be somebody close to you that triggers you emotionally or that stirs something up. Maybe somebody tells some gossip. I don't know. These are things that are just coming through. I trust what comes through, that it may be helpful for one of you at least. It's a 15, that's a 6. Well, 1 is new beginnings and 5 is change. But together they add up to 6, which is harmony, balance, equilibrium, the Lovers. And this is your 11th house across from the 5th house of true love, romance, creativity, and children. Because the Sun is in your 5th house, conjunct the North Node of destiny. There could be something going on in a love relationship for sure, or with a child or with a creative project for sure. That could be part of this. The 11th house is also online dating. So something could be going on with somebody you met through online dating or someone you're meeting. Just know that if you have this Dust Devil energy going on, it's kicking stuff up for a reason. It wants to show you something that is going to help you to move out of stagnation, beautiful Scorpio. If anything that I shared resonates and you want to share in the comments, let me know. I would love to hear. Libra. Hello, beautiful Libra. Libra, you are going to experience this full moon lunar eclipse in your 12th house. The 12th house is the ethereal realms. It is not of this world. It is not of this earthly plane. It's your mystical self. It is your subconscious mind. Sometimes we reprogram our subconscious mind as a result of an eclipse. Sometimes we move through fears. We recognize a story or an inner narrative that we've had that isn't supportive of us. We can realize that we've had some self-sabotaging tendency that we then, once we become aware of it, then we can move and shift it, right? The 12th house is also where we can have amazing experiences on the astral plane. We can have otherworldly kinds of synchronicities. We can get signs. We can have magical moments, angelic visitations. Your psychic gifts may feel quite amplified during this eclipse, especially as, in the in-between too, like between the solar eclipse that we just had in Aquarius and then the eclipse that we're about to have in Virgo. The veil is said to be thin between the worlds when we're between eclipses, so you could feel this even more intensely as a result. Before we get to the March 3rd date, And we can feel eclipses 6 weeks before, 6 weeks after. And then, it takes time sometimes for them to fully play out. But a lunar eclipse is often, we feel it more intensely. Often, if there's going to be an ending or there's going to be a revelation, you could get a revelation, Libra. You're an air sign, and Virgo is an earth sign, but it's ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is air energy. So you could definitely be feeling, um, getting some sort of revelation, have a conversation, have something come to light that gives you information, that tells you something very important that you need to know, that's going to affect decisions that you're making, for example. So we got so much, we got we've got so much energy in Pisces in your 6th house during this eclipse. And just so you know, part of that energy is Venus, which is your ruler, Libra. Venus rules you. Venus conjunct Mercury. So something about relationships could come to light for you. Could be a pattern, could be, a conversation you have with somebody that you love. That could be part of the shift. But big picture, this eclipse is about your spiritual well-being, deepening your connection with the divine, and about your health on all levels, and possibly your daily work, because that's where the sun and all the Pisces energies are, and they're all talking to each other. It's all part of the same soup. Okay, so Libra, watch part 1 of this video if you want more of the download. Down low, down low, down low. I'm getting silly now because this is you're my last sign, and by the time I get to this point, I've been recording this video for hours now, so that's part of the deal. But a little humor is good, right, Libra? I think it's good. So, Libra, let's see what the cards have to say for you. Remember that an ending, if it's happening for you, is opening the door to a new chapter, a new beginning, a new life for some of you. This is the last eclipse conjunct the South Node in Virgo that we're going to have. This whole eclipse story began January of 2025. I go into that at more length in part 1 of this video, but it's a big deal for that reason. So let's see what the cards have to say for you. Libra, anything that's been self-sabotaging in your life, anything at all, self-doubt, anything else, that's the 12th house, part of the 12th house energies. This is the eclipse to let it go, to observe it, to realize it, to let it go. I know that's not easy. It can be a practice, but that's one of the things that this eclipse may be showing you. Okay, Libra. Your card is the courage to step into life. The perfect storm. There's lightning in this card. There's also a lot of wisdom. This eclipse could feel like a storm to you, obviously, based on this card. It could feel like something all eclipses have kind of an electrical energy to them. All eclipses have a quantum leaping kind of unexpected aspect, wild card aspect. That's the lightning. That's what lightning represents. But you can see that this bird is very connected to a knowing. You can see it in their eyes and in the way that their head is cocked. They're very aware of a higher wisdom. And they can, it's interesting because the bird is air and you're air, Libra. They can get up and fly to where they need to go. They have freedom. They have the freedom of choice. And this card is saying you have the courage to step into life. Use your freedom of choice. Because, it's a 44. It's double 4. Structure, work, paying off. The 8. The 8 is what 44 adds up to an 8. The 8 is material security, material success. The 8 is the infinity symbol too, staying within the flow. Everything flows. Everything is always moving. Keep the energy moving. Keep the energy moving, Libra. You have the power of choice. You have the freedom to fly in the direction of where your heart is taking you, guiding you. The courage to step into life fully. If you want to claim this, beautiful Libra, I love those words, the courage to step into life. If you want to claim that in the comments, let us know, or anything else that you want to share, I'd love to hear. My beautiful friend, thank you so much for being here with me, for your time, presence, and energy. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for giving it a thumbs up, for sharing, for commenting, for subscribing to the channel. When you like, comment, share, and subscribe, you activate the algorithm to share this video with more people who love astrology, which benefits everyone. So thank you so much for your support. And if you would like to do an astrology consultation with me, go to my website, check out my offerings, check out the testimonials that other clients have shared after working with me. There are lots of options. We can do a natal chart, a heart's desire, a life purpose, a relationship harmony reading, a 90-minute astrology consultation if you would like more guidance on something that is truly impactful in your life right now, perhaps a decision that you're trying to make. Eclipses bring us to those life turning points. This is a beautiful time to do an astrology consultation. Go to my website. The links are in the description box below. And as promised, I have a free gift for you. And that free gift is a soothing guided meditation. It will be so perfect for this eclipse time that is going to take us into quite a deep place, I believe, especially with so much energy in deep diving Pisces. If you'd like to connect with your unconditionally loving guides, you will love this meditation. Go to my website, subscribe for free to my weekly inspirational astrology updates, and you'll get my free instant download gift at the same time. My beautiful friend, let me know how you are feeling about this lunar eclipse in Virgo. And until my next video, I am sending you all my love.